Hi guys, today is September the 11th, 2020, and it's 57 minutes past 10 in the evening over here in the UK. I just wanted to make this very quick video about September the 15th, coming up in 4 days' time. TikTok is been ordered to shut down or be sold by the 15th, and there's this subliminal underlying message that the end of TikTok is kind of like a time reference to bad things happening. So keep an eye out on September 15th. Not only is TikTok going to be potentially stopped in the US or sold, but the United Arab Emirates and Israel, along with the United States, is to sign a peace deal on September 15th. And I'm not going to, um, insult anyone's intelligence by reiterating the Bible and the peace deal connection that we have in there. But again, something very significant to watch out for on September the 15th. Also occurring on September the 15th is Apple's next event. So September the 15th is supposed to be rolling out an Apple Watch and iPad. It seems analogous to what I'm, potentially warning about, but I'm going to explain in a few seconds uh, why I'm bringing up this Apple event on September the 15th. And then there's also the defamation lawsuit involving E. Jean Carroll, a journalist or reporter, something like that, um, who said that Donald Trump raped her, and DNA is supposed to be handed over from Donald Trump in the discovery phase of the case on September the 15th. So there's a lot going on September the 15th and a lot to watch out for. Now, in association with the IPEC Go-To video, starting with the Israel-United Arab Emirates peace deal, I'm wondering if that deal could lead to this event happening on the 15th or very close to the 15th. We have that one missile, as we've spoken about many times, hitting this area where we've got this mosque and we've got the Islamic crescent to kind of give us that reference to the Middle East. As the missiles retaliate, we have five of them, giving us a reference potentially to the number 15, one missile, then five missiles. We've got a reference to an oceanic type scene here with ships and turbulent waves and a volcano erupting in the background as well. And I'm thinking, well, the volcano, we're looking at Hawaii, Italy, and also, where was the other place? Forgotten now. Hawaii, Italy, and obviously there's the Palma, Canary Islands, and yeah, those volcanoes. Keep an eye out for those erupting in a massive way. Within this month or any of the other months. Just have to keep on trying to catch that interpretation. But then we've got the reference to submarines, as you can see the top of the submarine here, and it could be that the missiles are actually being fired from the submarine. We've got what looks like an aircraft carrier or a ship of some sort over here as well. When I think of ships and turbulent times, it brings my mind straight to the Strait of Hormuz. But there's also the South China Sea, where there's been a lot of conflict between China and Taiwan, and a lot of that coming up from the United States selling Taiwan a lot of military equipment, which China views as, a provocation, and has been kind of building up um, their military, their naval assets in the South China Sea, and they've been kind of getting away with it because when the coronavirus first started, the United States kind of pulled back all their ships in the Pacific, which left China as like the most dominant force in the area, and they have really taken advantage of that. And then in terms of the next thing I wanted to discuss, which was the Apple. Obviously, you've got they call it Apple's next event, but often when it comes to a new product coming out, the phrase they use is rollout. So I'm thinking Apple's next rollout is coming on September the 15th. And I'm only pointing out because obviously we have an Apple here, and in very early interpretations, I connected it with the company Apple and potentially stocks tumbling or something like that with Apple, and that being a major effect on the stock market because Apple is a very highly priced company. But then you've also got the number 15 just down here with the X in the ground and the five tally marks that have been going over for the last 2 or 3 years. And the 15 is attached to this wave or this letter, which is in the shape of a C. And obviously, the letter C can be also described as the word sea, S-E-A, which has connection to water. And again, this kind of like wave type motion that's going on appears to suggest a tsunami or some sort of event close to that. And when you think about the Middle East scene with the submarines and the ships and everything there, there's a volcano erupting in the background and turbulent waves. And even here, just hidden, is the top of what I believe is a submarine or a missile coming up out of those waves. And again, that has connections to that same scene where we have the submarine, we have the missiles, we have the turbulent waves, we have the volcano eruption in the background. And with the number 7 here as well, the number 7 can be viewed as the Roman month of September. So where we have September as the 9th month on the Gregorian calendar, it was originally the 7th month on the Roman calendar. And although we're not 100% sure on what calendars are being used, we do tend to switch between the different calendars just to make sure we're not caught off guard. For example, where the number 8 appears in the middle of this apple could be giving us a connection to October, as we've already passed August and we didn't see these volcanic tsunami type events taking place. So keeping an eye on the Roman calendar now in association with the number 7 and the number 8. And obviously if these things do unfold, then so on and so forth. So that's two things, Israel and the Apple rollout, which I think may be connected to this video. And in both scenes, they have the number 15 encoded in some way, 1 missile, 5 missiles, or the number 15 scratched into the ground, barely visible. And then we have another event that is taking place on the 15th, which is in connection with this scene here with the hurricane type scenario and the New York reference. On the 15th, there'll be a hurricane by the name of Paulette making its way towards the East Coast. According to early trajectories, it's not going to be hitting the East Coast. It will be sweeping off towards the mid-Atlantic. But trajectories can change. And at the moment, this is 10 o'clock Universal Time, which will be 5 p.m. Eastern Time. So it doesn't look like it's very close to New York around that time. Then we're switching over to the 16th. But again, hurricanes can speed up, they can slow down, they can get weaker, they can get more powerful. They do that naturally, but also there's the prospect of weather manipulation, which is possible. Whether you believe in it that strongly or not, that's not for me to convince you on the matter. Just know that weather manipulation is done, especially with rain, precipitation, and using, I think it's, I can't remember what it is, silver iodide or something like that, that they spray into the air, and that attracts moisture and it kind of binds together and then clouds form. And you see that when planes are flying with their trails, shortly after they've gone, a cloud begins to form from the trail that's left, and that's seeding rain, basically, that's what they call it. So again, weather manipulation is possible. And in association with the Donald Trump defamation, having to give over his DNA, there's again that reference in the beginning of the scene where we have, sorry, the beginning of the video, where we have the Bush character who also represents, in my opinion, Donald Trump. And above him, we've got that missile, which is also shaped as a penis with the, either the urine or the semen coming out. If it's semen, then it could definitely be a connection to this case that's going on. Potential next steps going on September the 15th. If not, there's also the urination rumor or the cult, the golden showers thing with Donald Trump and the prostitutes. Obviously, in Michael Cohen's new book, he talks about that happening in a Las Vegas sex club, something like that. And then there's also the rumor of that happening in Russia and being taped by Putin. So there's two different sources of this kind of behavior, which makes me think, well, I know that there are people out there that do it, so it wouldn't be that hard for me to believe that someone like Donald Trump would do it. He's rich, he's powerful, he thinks he can get away with everything, and that everyone will do anything he says, and that's the kind of people that end up doing these kind of crazy things. So keep an eye out for anything like that on September 15th, and it could be that because all of this defamation stuff is taking place in New York, that's why we have this body of water reference with the New York reference and the apple rolling reference. A lot of information I just gave you there. Some of it may mean nothing at all of it may mean nothing at all. But then again, these are just warnings and interpretations, so take them with a grain of salt. I do recommend staying vigilant and just keeping your eyes open around the dates that I mention and dates that other people mention, It doesn't mean go run into your bunker and buy up the entire store, because there's been many interpretations that have been wrong, and I'm not afraid to admit that. In fact, I'm quite happy to say that a lot of interpretations have turned out wrong. Otherwise, by now, we'd all be drowned or nuked or so many different scenarios. And each interpretation that comes along and doesn't happen, it just means that yes, we have more time, but it doesn't mean that these events are not going to happen at all. So keep an eye out on September the 15th for all the things that I've mentioned there. The Israel United Arab Emirates United States peace deal, the Apple rollout may be connected with this Apple scene here. Who knows? Maybe that affects the stock market or something. Um, the hurricane approaching New York. Be mindful that at the moment it's not going to New York, but it could go to New York if it decides to change trajectory, speed, or power. So, with all of that said, I hope none of it happens. You guys have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I hope the audio is okay, and may the Heavenly Father bless you.